Welcome. I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Oscar-nominated director Michael Mann is working on a new movie, but our Seth Doane learned he's also taken on a new challenge as an author, expanding the world of his iconic 1995 action thriller, Heat.
We want to hurt no one.
Late film critic Roger Ebert complimented Mann's writing and directing of the heist film, calling his characters eloquent, insightful, and poetic.
What is it about this criminal underworld that fascinates you so much?
Nothing in particular. What fascinates me, what I'm drawn to, is drama, and drama is conflict.
What do you say I buy you a cup of coffee?
There was plenty of both in Heat, that 1995 movie starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro,
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Follow me.
Val Kilmer, and Ashley Judd. He's written his first novel, Heat 2, along with co-author Meg Gardner. Writing a book let him go deeper, concocting a prequel and sequel to the movie.
I really wanted to do more with the three-dimensional understanding of these people, their past, and then also project them into the futures that they might have.
There's more from their conversation coming up a little later in the show.
Do you want to direct Heat 2?
Of course, yeah.
Did you write the book to direct the movie?
More than that, I don't know. I realized even though I'd studied literature, I don't know how to write a novel. And I'm not going to try to learn how to write a novel, but I do know how to write screenplays, and I do know how a very, very large movie has to be. So instead of constructing something with 4 acts, I constructed something with about 192 acts. And the ambition was I wanted it to be a story that moved the way a good story moves in cinema.
Then Luke Burbank with the funny named sporting sensation that's sweeping the nation.
Pickleball's most unique stage.
By some estimates, nearly 5 million people in the U.S. have taken up pickleball. And that's having a profound cultural effect, from the repurposing of many tennis courts to how retirement communities are being built, to the themed restaurants, and of course, the hyper-competitive pro leagues.
You're staying on line, and now you are a master dinker. Look at you go.
Fans of the game say the secret sauce of pickleball is that anyone can learn the game and start having fun in 30 minutes.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Michael Mann has real range as a filmmaker, from The Last of the Mohicans to his newest movie on the story behind those fast-moving works of art that are Ferrari automobiles. Seth Doane's caught up with the legendary director to talk about it all, including the evolving legacy of one of his most celebrated films.
We're pretty close to where you're staying.
Just around the corner.
Oscar-nominated Hollywood director Michael Mann has been in Italy long enough to develop a morning routine
Cappuccino grande.
and find a favorite cafe in Modena, where Mann is shooting his latest film, Ferrari. This city is the birthplace of Enzo Ferrari and his company, and is famed for fast cars and good food.
Cities fascinate me. They have their own character, you know.
What do you get out of a city like this one, Modena?
What I get is a real challenge to understand what life is like if you're living here. To me, the challenge is to get so deep into this specific regional culture, because the deeper I do that, the more universal it becomes.
The detail-obsessed director has made a career of prompting audiences to feel for the characters in his films, whether it's the last remaining member of the Mohican tribe,
No matter how long it takes, no matter how far, I will find you.
or the plight of a tobacco industry whistleblower in The Insider.
You wish you hadn't blown the whistle?
Yeah, there are times I wish I hadn't done it.
Go drive!
There was the collective stress we felt for the taxi driver who realizes his passenger is an assassin in Collateral.
Why didn't you just kill me and get another cab driver?
Because you're good. We're in this together.
And he took viewers deep into the world of undercover detectives in Miami Vice.
Hey, look, I don't know y'all.
The flashy police series he executive produced in the 1980s, which brought film-like storytelling to TV.
You're not! What do you want from me?
But Mann is particularly adept at making moviegoers empathize with some of the most unsavory characters, including those in his celebrated bank robbery film, Heat.
Everybody's life is as complex and rich in detail as yours is or mine is.
We want to hurt no one.
Late film critic Roger Ebert complimented Mann's writing and directing of the heist film, calling his characters eloquent, insightful, and poetic.
What is it about this criminal underworld that fascinates you so much?
Nothing in particular. What fascinates me, what I'm drawn to, is drama, and drama is conflict.
What do you say I buy you a cup of coffee?
There was plenty of both in Heat, that 1995 movie starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro,
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Follow me.
Val Kilmer, and Ashley Judd.
I had to learn LA for Heat. So I had been living there for 25 years. I thought I knew it and realized I did not know LA. And so we probably shot on more locations in LA in 94, 95, making Heat than any other film before had shot.
Mann says he went out with police answering emergency calls every weekend for 6 months, preparing for that film.
We know you as a director, but you're making a bit of a career turn or twist.
It may be perceived as a twist. For me, it's not really a twist. It's really the fulfillment of something I wanted to do for so long.
He's written his first novel, Heat 2, along with co-author Meg Gardner.
For me, I always try to go very, very deep. Here's why you are the way you are, so that there's a whole life. The movie is a splinter. It's just a fragment.
Writing a book let him go deeper, concocting a prequel and sequel to the movie.
I really wanted to do more with the three-dimensional understanding of these people, their past, and then also project them into the futures that they might have.
Mann wanted the book to have the cinematic drive of his films.
I wondered if while you were writing there was something freeing about the ability to write, to invent just with your pen.
Freeing and dangerous, because you could find yourself writing something and then I'm very self-critical, say, okay, great, I just spent a day and a half writing it, it's a piece of crap. You know, I find I had to really struggle and kind of hit myself on the head with a hammer to get in and stay in.
The book develops Heat's characters, particularly the one played by Val Kilmer, and the types of crimes evolve too.
You've made a lot of different types of movies, but you have made a career in making violent, graphically violent at times, movies. I wonder how you see the actual violence, embrace of violence in America today.
I'm not smart enough to analyze the complex interreactive nature of the violence that's happening. I do believe it's a combination of many, many different factors. The horrendous state of education in the United States, the role-playing phenomenon of a life. This isn't your avatar doing this is you doing it.
But you were behind a lot of violent movies. Is there any responsibility that you feel?
I'm against gratuitous anything, gratuitous sentimentality, gratuitous violence, gratuitous horror. The bank robbery in Heat is scary. It is not, oh wow, I wish I was one of those guys.
He will not say who he's thinking to cast in Heat 2 if or when the book becomes a movie, but he knows who'd direct.
This book you've written is part of a 3-book deal, if I understand correctly.
Right.
You're setting up quite a body of work that then you plan to direct.
Yes.
You're 79?
79, you know, healthy and strong, and still doing 16-hour days and 7-hour days. And
Does being 79 push you to work harder, or do you not think at all about age?
It pushes to be more careful about what I'm going to dedicate my time to, and I'm somewhat successful, not 100% successful in that.
Now he's dedicating his time to Ferrari, his 12th feature film as director. Per usual, he's going deep, learning the city, the company, and its cars.
hearing you talk about cities like this one, like Moda, like Los Angeles, where you shot for Heat, it sounds really more that you're an academic, a researcher.
Well, but it's all, yeah, well, that's what you do as a director. I'm trying to create a fabric of reality that's as complex and believable as you experience your own reality where you're from.
More exclusive excerpts from Seth Doane's chat with Michael Mann coming up a little later in the show. But up next, we'll send a volley to Luke Burbank, who has the history of pickleball. The hottest sport in America is a little bit tennis, a little bit badminton, a little ping pong, and as Luke Burbank shows us, a whole lot of fun.
It all started more or less out of necessity.
The inaugural game was this very ball.
Oh, wow.
This is the Cosm Fun Ball. You can see it as safety play is the little label on there. And so the bat was around here wherever, but the ball is what they grabbed, Bill Bell and Joe. And it was
David McCallum remembers back in 1965 when a couple of neighborhood dads here on Bainbridge Island, Washington, Bill Bell and Joel Pritchard, were looking for something, anything to keep their bored kids entertained. They had some pieces of wood, a plastic ball, and a badminton court, so they made up a game on the spot and named it pickleball.
the Pickles version of the naming is that Pickles would run around here in these bushes and grab the ball, so they named it after Pickles the dog.
But there's also some speculation that Pickles was born after the game was invented, which would make it impossible.
It would.
While the origin of the sport's name might be complicated, the game itself was actually pretty simple.
They came up and found the badminton court, which had a raised net. They had a ping pong paddle and a wiffle ball, and started trying to hit the ball, and they lowered the net and figured the game of pickleball out.
Scott Stover and his wife Carol own the house and the court where the sport was invented. They grew up spending their summers just down the road and watched, like David McCallum, as pickleball took off within their tiny island community.
And it started growing, very small. But they needed paddles. Not everybody has a bandsaw in their basement. So they would call Barney to get paddles.
Barney was David McCallum's dad, credited as the sport's third founder. By day, he ran an envelope company. By night, he started making, with his son's help, pickleball paddles for a growing fan base, first on the island and then for the wider world, which is where Doug Smith came in.
The best thing we could do is be able to have a demonstration court and then get the teachers out there.
Doug's task was to try to convince PE teachers to add pickleball to their curriculum, which meant going to teaching conferences and letting them try it for themselves.
The teachers would be playing all during the conference.
The plan took time, but worked, taking pickleball from a game with a funny name invented in someone's backyard
Pickleball's most unique stage
to what is currently the fastest growing sport in America. By some estimates, nearly 5 million people in the U.S. have taken up pickleball. And that's having a profound cultural effect, from the repurposing of many tennis courts to how retirement communities are being built, to the themed restaurants, and of course, the hyper-competitive pro leagues. Jen Lucor is a pickleball Hall of Famer who, along with her doubles partner, Alex Hamner, has won 5 national championships. I have exactly 0 pickleball championships. In fact, the last time I played was 30 years ago during racket sports class at Nathan Hale High School in Seattle. So I figured I'd get a refresher from Jen.
And then you're staying on line, and now you are a master dinker. Look at you go.
Fans of the game say the secret sauce of pickleball is that anyone can learn the game and start having fun in 30 minutes. So, Sunday morning producer John Goodwin and I decided to test that theory. We had a few victories and a lot of defeats.
Oh!
And also a lot of fun. Not bad for a game invented by a couple of desperate dads that's now taking the nation by storm.
I got it, that's it. Great game, thank you.
Good job.
About directors, no director knows how any other director directs.
More from movie director Michael Mann up next. Stay with us.
I have no idea how anybody else directs or what their method is.
Welcome back. As promised, here's more from Seth Doane and Michael Mann on the writing of his book, Heat 2, about the past and future of the characters from his epic film.
Was this book something that you had in your mind ever since you shot the movie?
The impulse within me to express all that I knew about these characters, their origins, who they were when they were 11, what put them into the system in the first place, what their two brothers who disappear relative to each other, a father who abandons his sons, everything leading up and causing the Neil Macaulay, the Robert De Niro we see in 1995, that made him who he is, why he wears the clothes he wears. All of that pre-exists this narrow slice that is the movie Heat. So everybody, like all of us, we're all really complex. We all come from someplace. A sequence of causes made us be the way we are. We have internal contradictions we think about all the time. So my ambition is always to develop that much.
Is your intention to make this book into a movie?
Absolutely.
A movie or a TV series?
Not a movie. I'm not sure what will happen, beyond that, but primarily into a large-scale movie in the same way, the same scale as Heat.
There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of story in that book for one movie.
There is.
Can you fit that all into a movie?
You don't adapt. The word adaptation is not really apt. One doesn't adapt a novel into a movie. You transform it. I mean, a movie is a 2 to 3 hour. To me, it's kind of a dream. It's really happening if you're in the cinema, and so it's a completely different medium. It's not a quantitative reduction.
Do you want to direct Heat 2?
Of course, yeah.
Did you write the book to direct the movie?
More than that, I don't know. I realized even though I'd studied literature, I don't know how to write a novel, and I'm not going to try to learn how to write a novel. But I do know how to write screenplays, and I do know how a very, very large movie has to be. So instead of constructing something with 4 acts, I constructed something with about 192 acts, and the ambition was I wanted it to be a story that moved the way a good story moves in cinema. So I wanted to build it the way I build a screenplay, just a lot of it, and very well planned. A lot of time was spent on organizing and planning the way this story would work, much the way I planned a screenplay. So it's like a massive, so it has a cinematic drive to it. That was the ambition.
The book reads like a screenplay. It reads like you're watching a movie.
Not quite. It does things that novels do that screenplays and movies can't do, like go off on personal remembrances and tangents. It does all those things. And I confess that I planned them the way I would plan it if it was a 16-hour movie, if you like. So, and particularly because I wanted to have the momentum, the drive, and the engagement, and the visual realization that you have when you're in a movie that you're sitting there and it's about halfway through and you say, I hope this doesn't end too soon. That kind of wonderful feeling we all have.
So you as a director have this deep research, understanding, and empathy you make sure your actors do, but just because someone feels something doesn't mean it necessarily comes across on screen.
Yeah.
How do you get it to come across?
By, first of all, having spectacular actors and actresses like Ashley Judd and Val Kilmer, and make sure that they understand the character they're playing, and audience empathizes with them, and the way her hair is done, the furniture in that house they live in, why that house in the suburbs.
Details in everything.
Totally. There's nothing, if you go into your house, you picked every single object in your house. It's not just set deck set decoration. You picked every single object in your house. You liked it. You liked it for a reason. In Dollar Hyde's house in Manhunter, he's got his television tuned so that he's seeing the roll bars so he can see the carrier frequency. There's the toaster is futuristic. Everything is an expression. So we as filmmakers, we're reverse engineering. So I have to know this character. What kind of chair would he pick? Why would he like this chair, not that chair? You have to know these answers.
More than most directors, you'll actually get behind the camera and shoot.
Here's the big fact about directors. No director knows how any other director directs. We're never on a set with another director. Actors are. We aren't. I have no idea how anybody else directs or what their method is. People can write books about it, but it doesn't really tell you.
Sometimes you'll get behind the camera yourself.
Sure, yeah, I'll operate sometimes. But a number of people get behind the camera and operate, yeah.
Why do you do that?
I can't resist because it's something I really want to shoot. Or sometimes, usually in a dialogue situation, I want to be there because I know how the actor's going to react to a line that's coming 2 lines away. And so I make a small adjustment to know that a reaction is about to happen in about the next 10 or 11 seconds. And so I'll maybe set it up so that I could make a certain emphasis, kind of a tightening or slide a little bit to the left because the light is hitting it and his eyes are going to the left, so I'll slide to the left because I know his eyes are going to look quickly to the right. Or I'll go the other way because I know his eyes are going to come into the camera when he hears this surprising line of dialogue. So there's lots of reasons.
You've got 2 more books ahead?
2 more books ahead.
Have you started writing 1 or 2?
1.
How far along
writing
are
the
you?
second one. We're probably in the planning stage.
Are you going to be directing movies for 20 years?
Am I going to be directing? I hope so.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.